Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Hearthstone. So we need to get 3 victories with the Warlock or the Priest and play 31 more Warrior cards. So I'll do the Warlock or the Priest here. Um, the issue here is definitely coming from a factor, I guess we'll play this one, of we are on recording, I believe, number 4 at this point. Maybe we're only on up to recording number 3, but it's been 5 days since the last recording session, not the usual 3, and somehow in that 5 days, did probably caught an entire week's worth of news. In fact, there's more news even happening now that I've been on Twitter and brought up things that I'll just save for next time, I'm sure. Unless I start actually running out of things here, which is unlikely considering I still have half of my board listed as far as news subjects. One of the things I can mention though is that Twitter is not succeeding as a company, and ironically, the reason why it's not succeeding is the reason why it's not succeeding. How do I make this? What the video I watched from was made by a bunch of people, San Francisco and people from California, liberals. Just put it straight. And they think that the problem with Twitter is that there's too much harassment on Twitter. Twitter listens to those people, those famous people, those influential people, and thinks that's the reason why Twitter isn't succeeding. And it's not the reason. The reason why we have a president, Donald Trump, right now is the similar reason is that Twitter is not listening to the normal people. It's listening to famous, influential people that that while it is helpful and nice, I should have drawn the card there. It's nice to have famous people on Twitter. Certainly, a lot of people do want to follow famous people on Twitter. The president's on Twitter, and frankly, Twitter should be blowing up with all the people following and logging on, but it's not happening. And the reason why is simple. You don't just want famous people. You don't just care about what, I don't know, is J-Lo on Twitter? Like, famous people. I follow Bill Gates on Twitter, but he barely even posts anything. Morgan Webb has started to recently actually put some of her tweets more public, so I'm following her. She's not really a famous person though. I mostly follow video game companies though, so I don't personally, in my own experience, follow famous people. I follow things that interest me, but not just random famous. Let's see, can I do 2 of these? No.
Total corruption, total power.
Alright. Let's do this, and in the turn. So, yeah. I don't see any reason why my parents' generation or my grandparents' generation or the generation before me or possibly even the generation after that, I don't see any reason why they would want to get on Twitter and only be able to do 140 character tweets, because all of that falls directly into Snapchat right now, Toss this guy. Darn it. So why not do Snapchat, or why not do texting? If I'm going to broadcast something out, personally, I would do it on my personal Facebook if I wanted my friends to see it. Which Facebook, sure, Facebook could easily be described as something that's always dying and yet never dies, but it was there first, and it really we should all still be on MySpace, but I would say they probably messed up their opportunity to succeed on MySpace by being so connected to their core idea of it being just bands. Yeah, MySpace was just bands. Twitter is just famous people. Now, they made an argument that on Twitter you can't delete other people's replies, and Twitter's claiming it's going to put out some more anti-harassment tools, but that's not one of them. Well, I guess that very well might be the case in Google Plus, which never succeeded, in Facebook, that you can delete other people's replies. But I guess that's not the case in Twitter. I think Twitter should probably, if they're never going to allow that to happen, do like Vote did and just say we're going to be the free speech place, and free speech is going to rule completely. The only thing we're going to get rid of are advertisements and illegal things that we have to get rid of. But otherwise, it's just going to stay. If Twitter really wanted to take that stance, that would be great. It'd be great if they put that Milo Yiannopoulos back on Twitter and said we were wrong about that. Because kicking him off only empowered and emboldened him. He is more famous now than ever because of that, and because of the UC Berkeley riot when he tried to speak. The truth of it is, Milo was harassing somebody famous. But instead of just telling the famous person, we will help you block him so you don't see it, they wanted to kick him off completely. And that's what they did. So they are completely pro-censorship. Why would anybody want to get on a pro-censorship platform at all? You've ruined your platform by being pro-censorship. On either side. If they censor a right-winger today, they'll censor a left-winger tomorrow. They're just going to try and go... Twitter's bottom line, their fiduciary duty, if they truly have one, is going to tell them to keep everything as bland and friendly to as many people as possible to sell ads. And Twitter hasn't added any features in a very long time of any note. Like, nothing. The last important feature they added that I can recall is being able to tweet longer than 140 characters. And you still have to do it in weird ways. They had the polling system, which doesn't really work either. So, yeah. Instead of being this pro-censorship thing, they should just say we're pro-freedom of speech. Anyone can say anything. You can block and mute anybody right now on Twitter. You can block and mute anybody you don't want to see. And it's just on the buyer beware. Every user needs to be able to block it. But see, that's not good enough for the famous people. They don't care that they're being harassed. They care that other people see that they're being harassed. So if somebody, for instance, let's just say somebody says something like, you're a liar, President Trump, here's the proof, link to an article. Trump probably could easily mute that person and block them. And Trump probably doesn't care one bit what that one person thinks. But he certainly would care what if other people saw that reply calling him a liar and want that gone. And every other system, Facebook, Google Plus, I'm sure you can do it on Tumblr too. You could, person could just delete the reply to their original comment if they want to, and we've been okay with that form of censorship. So it's not like we're even really changing. Well, it's not like we're even really changing what we've had to still accept that low level form of censorship where each person can censor the comments on their own posts and they can curate their own profile. That's unacceptable, I suppose, since every other service does it. So that would be a solution. It would work. But I would like to see Twitter do something different if it's going to bring in a different audience. Now, that being said, Vote said it was a free speech place, and Vote, by default, if you go to vote.co, is flooded with hate speech. It's just flooded. You are definitely going to spend the first day setting up a profile on it and just blocking entire subreddits, whatever they're called on Vote. You're just going to block them. You're going to block them over and over and over again. And after about a day, once you blocked all those things, you would be able to see what you want. Ideally, you would subscribe to or like some other things, and that would also help. But yeah, undoubtedly, it is completely
to the void.
All realities, all dimensions are open to me.
Let's see. Destroy a demon. So yeah, if you're gonna go down the free speech route, you're gonna have to go down the free speech route. As it stands, since Twitter is just kind of staying in the middle and being a bad product for everybody, both the people who want to censor and the people who want free speech, which is what it really is just coming down to, is celebrities want to control the message. They've always wanted to control the messages. Corporations always want to control the message. What is controlling the message except for censorship? That's all it is. When you're trying to control the message and someone else is speaking and you want to take away their right to speak, that's censorship. Maybe it's not governmental censorship, so maybe by some strict definitions it doesn't account. And yes, Twitter is a company and they can do whatever they want, but they're doing whatever they want now and they're failing horribly. Ridiculously less subscribers this quarter than just new subscribers that you got, that Facebook got. I believe it was like 2,000 new subscribers. That number can't possibly be right. That's ridiculous that for 4 months they only got 2,000 new subscribers. No way. I must be confused. Maybe 2 million. But how many of those are bots? Twitter is flooded with bots and spammers and just fake people. And Twitter, honestly, just to be fair, is the best service for me as a YouTuber. It works for me, but I don't know why anybody else would wanna be on it.
Why do you call?
my Facebook, which is just a rebroadcast of the Twitter posts, gets no views. Tumblr gets no views. Google Plus gets a lot of views because I think it just comes up on Google search, or there's a bunch of random people on it, or bots. I don't know. Google Plus being integrated into YouTube seems to return a little bit better, but I still am not still not very happy with it.
The truth is in here.
Lord Drexus, interesting. So yeah, I've gone for a while ranting about Twitter. Twitter sucks. It really does. It's gonna get sold eventually. Maybe a new company, new people in charge can have some kind of decision-making capability. Just make it one thing or the other. I'm probably stuck in it in the same way I'm stuck in Facebook, but you're not going to get new people into it until you offer something different. And offering short messages only... the entire concept really only works for people with thousands and thousands of followers. That's the only people that would say, my friends are so... are so vast. I have so many friends that I need to follow as a normal person that I need to limit my friends to 140 characters, which in itself the 140 character limit is a shortening of speech, if not censoring of speech. Like, only famous people have thousands of followers. On my Facebook, almost none of my friends, my personal Facebook, none of my friends ever post anything. They take a picture, they put a sentence. That's it. I'm lucky if I get that from one individual person every 2 weeks. So, even though I obsessively look at Facebook, it really doesn't change. I'll get 4 or 5 posts for an entire day, and that's it. Let's try this.
The truth is in here.
And then we'll play... I was going to attack this one. And then I was gonna do this. Let's move on though. I mean, I can't really solve Twitter's problem because it's really who they're listening to, how they're thinking. You know, when I look at, just to wrap up, when I look at TV and I see commercials for dating apps, I don't see Ashley Madison because of their scandal, but I never saw any commercials for Ashley Madison. I never saw any commercials for any kind of like J-Date. J-Date never advertised. Maybe that's has more to do with the area I'm in, but like small niche groups don't advertise. What I see is Match.com. I see a lot of farmers only. I think they probably waste a lot of money on advertising, frankly, because where I live there aren't that many farmers, but it makes sense since all of the middle of the United States is sort of kind of farmland. A lot of it is. But I'm not sure how many of them even have TVs. And there's this new one that's for elite singles that on rare occasions I'll see, where you have to make tons of money and have gone to a prestigious college, and that's not going to work. My point is, Match.com was for everybody, trying to get as many people on their site as possible. That's kind of what Twitter needs to be, and it isn't. it's focusing on elite people and prestige, which isn't gonna work. That doesn't even work in the music industry. When the musicians themselves try to have this elite collection of let's see, I can place a 3 and then play this.
Total corruption, total power.
When
As
the
the master
music industry tries to alright, let's now delete something here. Try to be elitist and knock out the small indie musicians, which frankly even the indie musicians aren't the real small indie music musicians. Anyways, I'm ranting and we haven't even started a single news thing. Let's talk about video games. Project Cars 2 has been announced, and I haven't ever played a Project Cars game, but I may eventually get around to it. Oh, I can't believe they beat me there. That was shocking. Must have taken too much health damage. But what is interesting about Project Cars 2 is it will support VR, which isn't really interesting, and 12K. Now, how in the world is it going to support 12K? What video card out there? If you have a SLI Titan X Pascal, which is supposed to be the highest you're supposed to be able to do for a consumer or prosumer level build of a PC, and even the server video cards that have a lot more RAM don't perform better on games. You can't do 12K. There's nothing out in the real world that can do 12K. I'm sure somebody's gonna prove me wrong on this, but I swear, there's no monitors that support 12K. You would have to like have 3 4K monitors in a 3x3 grid, wouldn't you? Like, because if you had 4 4K monitors in a 2x2 grid, you're really only doing 8K at that point. And I could even buy, maybe you could find an 8K monitor that probably just downscales at that resolution. But a 12K
What to do?
would be a 3x3 grid. So you're talking $20,000 to $50,000 on monitors alone, and then you would have to have something that could connect to that and do it. This is mind blowing, and it probably is just made up. I'm sure there's a spec in the video cards, but I bet it won't run well. If it does run well at 12K, then they've found something amazing. Some amazing engine going on with that racing game. I am totally not ready for a world full of 12K games. I'm still at 1080p. I'm still going to be at 1080p when I buy a new video card. I'm probably still going to be at 1080p. Right now, I'm still uploading video from last night's playthrough of Darksiders, which I'm playing Darksiders right now, and boy am I loving it. It is really nice to finally have a break from games that are laggy. Darksiders still has some problems with its camera sensitivity. You move the camera a little slower than I think you should be able to, but I think it's actually just an internal setting that a simple patch might fix, and they are patching the game like every month in the Darksiders 1 Warcraft edition. So a slight issue with the camera, and that is it. Everything else feels great. It looks so good at 1080p for a 7-year-old game. It's an awesome game. The only thing I would complain about, and I will always find something to complain about it because I'm a critic, is I wish Zelda Breath of the Wild was out right now, because that's the reason I'm playing Darksiders, but because I'm recording it in advance, it's going to air when Zelda Breath of the Wild comes out, so none of the commentary or anything I'm saying can really compare the two. But I can certainly compare it to Ocarina of Time, which is really what it is, a blatant rip-off of his Zelda Ocarina of Time. It doesn't really have any of the elements from Wind Waker or Twilight Princess or any of these Zelda games that came after that, and that I think I played Wind Waker and that was it. The Skyward Sword, certainly not. But then again, none of those Zelda games are really as good or as worth talking about as Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time itself being a pretty old game, when you look back upon it without nostalgia, you can see that there's some major issues with that, and it wouldn't work that well. But yeah, I'm so happy to play Darksiders. I played it for an hour before I even started recording, just as a test to make sure the graphics and everything would run, and I was just like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. The one issue I'm going to run into, though, is that the game is probably shorter than I remember.
Time is money, friend.
Let's see. Kill this. And this isn't a mech character, but these are. So I have 50-50 shot of hitting this guy. Nope. Didn't think I'd win that. Siberia 3 is coming out 13 years after Siberia 2, which I should have really looked up. How many years did Siberia 2 take to come out? It's a 3D point-and-click adventure, kind of mystery looking thing, as best I can tell. And I'm interested. It will definitely be if I get around to playing it anytime soon. It will be like trying to play Fallout 1 versus Fallout 2 versus Fallout 3. Like, Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 are pretty similar, but Fallout 3 goes from a top-down RPG element into a game made by a completely different company. Let's see. Kill this one. Attack, and then return. But I'm interested, definitely. Let's see, how long have we been going? Just about 30 minutes. And I've ranted about Twitter for so long. We really didn't make any other things. So the third Lovely game, Super Lovely Planet, is going to switch from 2D platforming to 3D platforming. I believe each of the Lovely games was a completely or slightly different style of programming. It's just an experiment. Much like Darksiders, how Darksiders 1 and Darksiders 2 are completely different games, and they were going to make Darksiders 3 and 4 different games too. But they never got past 2 before the company went out of business, and then THQ Nordic bought it out. Let's see, I'm gonna do this again. I'm just gonna keep doing this.
No time! Explosions! More explosions!
E3 is going to be open to the public. It's totally not worth it. At least all the famous people, the video game reviewers, are saying it's not worth it. I tend to agree with them. I mean, I don't just hate popular people. Well, maybe on some small level, I do just hate
Where
popular
shall
people
I
for being popular. But ignoring that mental hang up, I agree with them. E3 has been a failing uh, like convention for a long time, and it's just not really worth it. The big speeches are press only, so you're still not gonna get in there unless E3 changes everything. The booth babes have been banned for a long time, so you're not gonna get that. There's not a ton of swag to collect or free gift items, so you're gonna get in there. You're not gonna see anything special because all of the secret announcements and things that are special are appointment only meetings. So you're not seeing anything other than just the basic of basic things. Let's see, will this work? I guess I'll just do this. Let's see. We have a 3 here, a 1 here, and we can just win here. You're gonna stand in line at E3 for hours and hours to play demos of games that are gonna be broken and very limited. It's not worth your time. It's not worth the money. That people have been sneaking into E3 for years, running blogs and things just so they get tickets to E3. It's not good coverage if you're a YouTuber. Barely, even the biggest people like Giant Bomb barely even cover it. And most of them just watch the streams and talk over the streams, and that's kind of it. And you could certainly do that from your own house. I'm not sure any of the conventions are really worth it. Maybe you go to PAX if you want to see people and be friendly and personable, but PAX doesn't really announce any new games, and E3 doesn't really announce any new games. You really can't play anything new. In general, you just need to be patient and wait. Let the game be finished. Let the games come out when they're ready to come out, and then play them when they're good. And that's kind of all you need to do. Just save yourself and be conservative as far as your money. Anyways, that's it for this recording. We're gonna have another 4th recording or 5th recording. I've lost count, but I've still got several things to talk about on my list and still have quests to do. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. If you want to support me further, please friend and follow me on all the social media links down below, even Twitter, even though I know I ranted against it. It helps me with that service, and if you're on it already, you'll see the videos and be reminded. Otherwise, I'd prefer you just subscribe to Google, YouTube. I mean, it's 100 times better to be subscribed on YouTube and check YouTube every day for new videos on your particular feed. But most people on YouTube don't even know they have a feed, and they're just scrolling down the recommendations, which kind of looks like a feed but isn't. Anyways, please do friend and follow me even on Twitter. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.